Hello, everybody. I hope that you are having a good week so far. Okay, so today we are looking at the factors of an influencer, measuring the value of influencers, influencer research and campaigns, and then affiliate marketing. So, what it is and how it works. Starting with a few bits of info to get your head into today's topic. The worth of affiliate marketing has been increasing every year, and it honestly doesn't look like it's going to slow down. Overall, the global estimation is at $12 billion, with the US, the UK, and Germany taking over 60% of the market, followed by the rest of the world with 33%. What is influencer marketing exactly? It is a form of social media marketing that involves endorsements and product placements from an individual or an organization. They either have a strong following and or social influence in their respective fields. To answer what makes someone an influencer, it is often easier to start with what doesn't. So, firstly, I'm guessing that for a lot of you, when you think of influencer marketing, you think of celebrities with millions of followers who are paid millions of dollars to promote different products. Some of these influencers are good in the performance sense of the word, in that they contribute a lot of sales, but you don't have to be at that level of celebrity to be seen as an influencer. Perhaps initially, the amount of followers that someone carried had more weight than it does now, but quantity does not mean quality, and popularity and influence are not the same thing. An influencer creates a change in thinking or behavior. If we just look at the number of followers of an account, then the most popular account on Instagram is Instagram. So obviously they don't get paid to promote different accounts, but they do this anyway because they want to show Instagram users the kinds of images or the kind of content that various people create. I would recommend following this account for inspiration, as Instagram also uses it to demonstrate its features and share a wide range of visuals, as you can see. Instagram is also synonymous with influencer marketing. It is by far the platform that creates the most engagement between accounts and their followers. TikTok is coming up here in terms of competition, but it is not quite there yet. So, as I said just now, influencers affect the decisions and opinions of other people. They are often seen as industry experts. They use social media and other channels to maintain a personal connection, meaning that their communication is authentic and they also engage with their followers. What this does is it contributes to building a rapport with their followers. They've taken time to build up their following and are therefore protective over it. To build up trust, they have been strategic about what they share and who they are seen to partner with. And just like in any business, any damage to their reputation on such public channels can be irreparable. There are 3 core factors of a successful influencer, and we will go through each one in more detail. Successful influencers have reach, they have contextual credibility, and they have salesmanship. But what exactly these mean, starting off with reach? So while there is a social media metric called reach, which, as the name suggests, tells you how many people your posts have reached, reach here refers to the ability to deliver a message to a large amount of people. The audience that an influencer reaches could be through various channels, for example, the readership of a publication, a blog, a magazine, a book, etc. Of course, there are both online and offline versions of this. It also could be someone who hosts a program, perhaps a podcast, a radio channel, etc. And then, of course, social followers, which is what most of us think about when we hear the term influencer marketing. More on reach just now, but the next factor is contextual credibility. And this is referring to the trust given by the audience based on the influencer's knowledge and expertise on a topic. Let's go through a few simple examples. look at the image on the right. So a brand promoting that their products aren't tested on animals wouldn't approach a fashion blogger who wears fur. If we have a young student sharing content around her degree, this wouldn't appeal to a brand selling parenting books. A financial trader who posts updates on stocks and currencies wouldn't fit a retailer selling outdoor or adventure gear for men. So while these made-up examples would have credibility within their field or industry, if they're paired with the wrong brand, it just won't work. Or, to be kinder, it won't work nearly as well as it could. Some people seem to have a natural ability to convince other people to see their point of view. Others spend a lot of time working on their image and how they present themselves. The communication style of a good influencer is clear, it's authentic, and it's confident. It is natural for brands to want to control the way the message about their product or service is communicated, but in the case of influencer marketing, some of this control needs to be relinquished. The influencer knows how to speak to their audience and also needs to be given the creative freedom to do so when working with a brand. There are, of course, risks around this, which we'll look at just now, but for the campaign to be most effective, the influencer needs to be consistent with their own brand as well. Sounding like a completely different person, or even worse, far too salesy, could have a negative impact on what they've also spent a lot of time building. This is one of the most important things you need to remember in today's lesson, that reach is important, but it is not good enough or enough on its own. If someone has low reach, but they have high credibility and good salesmanship, they might be referred to as a nano or micro influencer. They are still influencers. I just mentioned nano and micro influencers. There are 4 categories of influencer, which is based on their number of followers. They have been segmented this way as analysis has shown that different categories can be more or less effective for different objectives, just like any other marketing tactic. So the relatively new coined term for someone with less than 1,000 followers is a nano influencer. Nano influencers often hold influence in their local community or area, and engagement rates are highest here. They are often a source of user-generated content, which can be amplified by the brand's marketing efforts, but relying on nano influencers for a campaign where you want a lot of reach or awareness is very time-consuming, as you'd need quite a pool of them to give you enough volume, and of course then managing all these relationships takes the most time. Then we have micro-influencers, and they have between 1,000 and 100,000 followers. So you might see slightly different information here. I've seen the cap of 50,000. It is quite a jump, but these influencers have been found to produce the best results, as there's a good balance between reach and engagement, and they've mostly focused on a specific niche or industry. So their follower demographics and interests are quite consistent. Also, micro-influencers, for the most part, don't charge nearly as much. Then we have macro-influencers, and they have between 100,000 and 1 million followers. And here is where we see engagement rates drop hugely. Due to the volume of followers, it is natural for there to be a broad range of demographics and behaviors. Research indicates that these types of followers are most likely internet famous, so they went viral or have built up a large base from their YouTube channel, perhaps their TikTok channel, their blog, etc. Then we have macro influencers, so the Kylie Jenners, the Dwayne Johnsons of the world. They have more than 1 million followers and are most likely to be A or B list celebrities, whatever that really means. They are only really suitable for mass awareness, so top of the funnel objectives. So it is safe to say that these kinds of influencers are out of reach for all of us, at least for the moment. When influencer marketing became the hottest trend in digital marketing, some people made a lot of money. And unfortunately, this idea that you can get rich quite easily from being an influencer has stuck around, even though it is no longer true and it is a lot of hard work. I am sure that we've all seen those how to become an influencer and turn your life around type posts. Brands needed influencer marketing to become more measurable as a result of this, as a result of the amount of people that were just trying to boost their numbers, sometimes by buying them. There are bots involved and all that sort of thing. So brands definitely needed a better solution. Earned media value, or EMV, refers to publicity gained through promotional efforts other than paid advertising. So it tries to measure the value of things like mentions, conversations, referrals, or recommendations, content, as in user-generated content, and reviews. What is the actual monetary value of these things? How do they contribute to the bottom line? A lot of this isn't measurable to the accuracy of something like Google search, for example. So there had to be a solution for this. Earned media is uncontrolled media. Unlike paid media campaigns, where you can control the budget, the cost per clicks, you can set impression or conversion targets, etc. And because it is uncontrolled and there's actually no consistent way to calculate it, the responsibility really falls down to the brand to look at their objectives, their expected results, what each interaction or conversion is worth to them. There are some suggestions on how to calculate it, and if you are using an agency or certain marketing automation tools, then it takes some of the guesswork out for you. A recent evolution of EMV is IMV, which is Influencer Media Value. This is a metric that was first introduced by an influencer marketing agency called NeoReach, but it has since been used within other platforms. Among other factors, what it tries to do is represent how much a brand would have had to pay for reaching the influencer's followers using paid advertising, like PPC, social media, etc. I know it might sound confusing because after all, a brand is still technically paying for it, making it paid advertising, but that classification really exists for certain channels like Google Ads, Facebook Ads, etc. So just to say that again, what it tries to calculate is how much would a brand have paid had they reached those followers by different means, so through Google search or display, etc. Getting this kind of data is not really possible unless you are using an agency such as NeoReach, or if you have pre-existing paid campaigns that you can compare or analyze results against. But I will walk you through this example from NeoReach. So let's say you ran an influencer campaign and you spent $54,600 of your budget of $60,000. This is what you paid the influencers, and it includes the cost of creative, so images or copywriting, as this is something the influencer would handle as part of their fee. During this campaign, you received 12.9 million impressions and 641,900 engagements. Had you run this campaign through paid media channels, it would have cost $184,000, and this is excluding paying for content and creative design. So your return on investment for running an influencer campaign is therefore just over 300%, or 3 times your investment amount. Remember that the calculation for ROI is net profit divided by total investment. And while technically this isn't profit, as you didn't receive $184,000 in revenue, you saved 300% than if you were to run this through another channel. Looking back at impressions and engagements, this means that your CPM, cost per 1,000 impressions, was $4.65, and your CPE, your cost per engagement, was 9 cents. Had you spent $184,000, which is the shown IMV, your CPM would have been $14.3 and your CPE would have been $3.5. So you can see here that there is a massive difference. The factors taken into consideration when calculating IMV are the size of an influencer's reach, the number of people engaging with the posts, which is segmented by the engagement type, so a comment, a like, a share, etc. The success at directing people to landing pages, so really the click-through rate to the website, the time spent on each engagement, and then the segment of the target market that the influencer actually reaches. The truth is, just like it is difficult to measure the effectiveness of traditional marketing, some aspects of digital marketing are equally challenging. There is no consistent measure for EMV as it differs from business to business. Using an agency that has historical data and access to advanced technology does make it easier. But regardless of tech and who is managing your marketing, vanity metrics like impressions and engagements don't actually adequately address a brand's larger business objectives. And there is currently no way to track every single touch point from view to sale. And perhaps there never will be, at least for brands that can't spend millions a month. However, as a digital marketer, it's good for you to know what can and can't be done. IMV is a new metric and it is currently only available to big budget brands. However, if you have historical data to work with and can see the kinds of CPCs, CPMs, and CPEs that you have been paying on the paid media channels, then that is a great start. The most important thing to do when looking at partnering with an influencer is to do your research, and I'm sure that is no surprise. There are so many unknowns and variables, so it's important to start with what we know. And that is that people emulate or try to copy who they look up to. We also trust recommendations from people more than we do from advertising, and some people do that far more than others. Influencers assist top of the funnel objectives like awareness and engagement above others. So if you're going further down the funnel, then you need to consider influencer marketing quite carefully and perhaps adopt another approach. So perhaps your influencers could be covering your awareness and engagement objectives, and then you could be remarketing to those people on different channels. It takes quite a lot of time to research and find influencers that will fit your brand and your requirements. Diving into the endlessness that is the internet can end up being frustrating. If you have the budget for an influencer marketing agency, then to manage this for you, definitely interrogate at least 3 different options. But otherwise, you should start with your loyal customers, and you would find them with data. For example, people who have a high purchase frequency, or you could talk to your customer service team for insights. You should also look at the people who engage on your digital channels the most. For example, on Facebook, there's a top fans section for each page. You could start here. Or subscribers who regularly engage with your newsletter. Search relevant hashtags. You can search your brand and hashtags that are relevant to your brand to see what comes out tops. You can also use tools like Quora and BuzzSumo to identify influencers. We looked at these in previous lessons. And then it is also important to explore the channels of the people that you find. Keep the number of followers in mind, of course, and perhaps split them into the 4 categories of influencers. Then get to know them, get to know what they post, how frequently they post, and how they engage with their followers. So Instagram is by far the top social media channel used by influencers. This is followed by Facebook, then YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn, and then all other platforms. Engagement rate is also highest on Instagram, with a big difference between Instagram and Twitter when the volume of followers exceeds 100,000 people. Engagement drops across all channels overall at this point, but Instagram is at 1.1% versus Twitter's 0.3%. There are many types of influencer campaigns, and it's good to know about them as only one or a few might fit a brand and its objectives. Firstly, there is a giveaway, and this is where you give your product or service as a prize in a giveaway, which is then managed by your influencer on their channel. It exposes your brand to their followers or the brand, and everybody loves a giveaway, of course. Then we have a social media takeover, which is where you hand over the reins of your social media channel to an influencer. He or she would then post content, they'd engage with your followers, and then of course they would tag their channel in all posts, which expands reach. There are affiliate partnerships, and we'll be talking about that shortly. But for now, it's a good start to know that influencer and affiliate marketing are generally very closely linked. An influencer very often becomes or is also an affiliate. Then there are paid partnerships. The example here is an influencer using and reviewing a brand's work bag. As the brand is paying the influencer for this content, it has to be specified as a paid partnership or ad. In the example here, you can see paid partnership at the top on the right. Not everyone has access to this tag, and then the word ad basically needs to be included in the ad copy somewhere, or the copy of the influencer. People often include it at the beginning or as a hashtag at the end of a post. Then there is product seeding, and this is really a strategy applied to try and get an influencer's attention and also hope that they post something about your gift of products. You shouldn't send a gift with the expectation of an influencer raving about it online. Many will, but only because they haven't been asked to. If you do this after establishing a relationship with the influencer, then the chances of him or her posting something would be much higher. And then we are closing off with brand ambassadors. Now, this strategy is a long-term partnership with an influencer. Brand ambassadors promote your brand on their channels consistently over a long period of time. This is compared to a campaign with an influencer, which would last for a few weeks or months. A brand ambassador needs to fit your ideal target audience or be someone that your target audience aspires to. So you have found your perfect influencer or influencers. What is the next step? Firstly, you should start engaging with their channels and content as your brand. Comment on their posts, perhaps share the content that resonates. It's not about saying things like, "Oh, Susan, you look great in our sunnies," but rather being genuine. Give your opinion on their post. Tell him or her they look great if that is relevant. Congratulate them for achievements, etc. Then you should reach out directly to them as opposed to using a third party like an agency or a salesperson. Influencers generally appreciate this far more. I must add, though, this is generally the smaller influencers. Bigger or more experienced influencers are quite used to working with an agency or within a network, etc. The proposal that you have outlined should be personalized to each influencer that you send it to. They need to see that you've done your research, that there's value and relevance in the partnership. This is just as important to the influencer as it is to the brand, or at least it should be. You also need to make sure that you set clear objectives and KPIs from the very beginning. You would also need to determine the payment and the terms of that payment, and then also draw up and sign a contract. Like with everything, there are benefits and risks to this marketing tactic, and it is wise to know them. You can reach specific demographics, in some case more targeted than can be achieved through paid advertising. So this boils down to good research. It is relationship building, which is expanding your network of people and opportunities to show value and grow your brand. It is fantastic for brand awareness, as most of these interactions are happening online on public channels, and this will also assist authority when it comes to your SEO and help them determine your audience affinity. You also don't need to worry about ad blockers, and we looked at those in lesson 2. The value of this benefit will differ depending on the target audience. If you remember, I spoke about technical or tech-savvy people are more likely to install ad blockers than people who aren't. When it comes to risks, as I said earlier, you are placing trust in another entity to promote your brand, and there is always a risk with that. It could end up benefiting them more than you. For example, KPIs might not be met yet. If you haven't at least agreed on a minimum result, then they would still receive payment. So that burns the brand a little bit. Lack of research increases the risks of the 2 points above, as well as potentially partnering with fake influencers. And these are people who actually don't have the following it looks like they do, as they've perhaps bought more than half their audience. I do mean this literally. Just like you can buy email lists, you can buy social media followers. The communication about your brand might seem unauthentic, and this is never a good thing. So doing your homework, approaching the right people, and thinking things through clearly will greatly decrease these risks. Enter the virtual influencer. This is a digitally engineered influencer. It's a rising trend, and I'm very interested to see where it goes. If you look at the top left account there, Lil Miquela, she has almost 2 million followers at the point of this screenshot, and she didn't initially announce that she was, as her profile now says, a robot. But when she did post about it, it did nothing to sway her followers. Brands are finding these virtual influencers quite appealing due to young millennials and Gen Zs, which are having a affinity to these accounts. They also pose less risk in terms of the risks that we spoke about earlier. Because everything is engineered, they can control everything. According to a report by Hype Auditor, virtual influencers have almost 3 times more engagement than real influencers. That means that followers are more engaged with virtual influencers' content. And Social Media Today said that virtual influencers are unpaid, unbiased, available 24/7, and evidently very popular. So why wouldn't brands take notice? Building these models is of course very costly, but as the tech progresses, and it will, the costs will go down and make it more accessible to brands. We could be looking at a big part of the future of social media influencers. It's pretty amazing and also quite scary. Okay, and with that interesting and futuristic trend behind us, we move to affiliate marketing. What is affiliate marketing? It is a person or organization officially attached to a larger body, so a larger brand. It is a type of performance-based marketing in which a business rewards one or more affiliates for each visitor or customer brought by the affiliate's own marketing efforts. So it's performance-based because a brand only pays for a successful goal completion, whether that is a click, which in many cases doesn't make the most sense. It could be a lead or it could be a sale. So typically affiliates earn commission or a percentage of each sale. So you might be asking yourself, what's the difference between affiliate and influencer marketing? I know I did when I first got involved. It's hard to keep up with all these digital terms, I know. The truth is that they are very similar. A brand is trusting someone else or another entity to create promotional content on their behalf. This is the case whether someone is an influencer or an affiliate. But there are some key differences. First, we have the cost or the payment structure. So influencers are generally or often paid a flat fee, whereas an affiliate receives a percentage commission or share of revenue from each sale. The objectives also differ. So affiliates are often used for new customer acquisition and to increase revenue, whereas influencers are mostly used for branding and awareness. So that is top of the funnel goals versus bottom of the funnel goals. The measurement of performance between these two is also different. We have covered the influencers, so that's the social media metrics like engagement, etc., as well as EMV and IMV. But affiliate marketing is performance-based, so links can be tracked directly to the purchase. So there's conversion rate, there's cost per sale, etc. to measure off. Influencers are generally individuals, whereas affiliates can be an individual or an entire brand or website. When it comes to the parties that are involved in affiliate marketing, there are four. So we have the consumer, and that is the person, of course, who purchases the product or the service. Then we have the merchant, and this is whoever created the product or the service. Then we have the affiliate, and that is the marketer. So they are promoting the product or the service, not the merchant. We will be covering that in another lesson on affiliate marketing from the merchant side, but this is more about the affiliate side. And then we have the network, which is not always involved because affiliate marketing, for example, can be set up between two businesses, so a small volume of businesses or partners. And they might create their own system for tracking and payment, etc. But the network is generally what handles payment and delivery of that campaign or the affiliate campaign that a business decides to create. We're going to quickly look at how an affiliate network works. So firstly, an affiliate would show an ad or a link to a product or service. Then a customer would click the ad or the link, which would direct them to a website or a store through a unique link that would be completely unique to the affiliate. Then the customer makes the purchase. The network records the purchase. The purchase is confirmed by the merchant as a valid sale. The transaction is credited to the affiliate because of that unique link. And then the affiliate is paid commission. If you are looking to become an affiliate and it is the business that you're wanting to start, or perhaps you're wanting to get some passive income, then there are some important things to know for success. You should only recommend what you know, just because if you're recommending things that you don't know, then it could create problems. You don't know how the quality of that item or product or service. So very important there. You should also have a variety of merchants. So don't put all your eggs in one basket, so to speak. Optimize your conversion rates. This is so important. Often you might not be able to do anything about increasing your volume, so increasing the number of people that you're bringing in, whether it's from a budget or perhaps a time perspective. But if you focus on optimizing that conversion rate, so people who actually make a purchase versus people who don't, and you do that by your targeting, if you have control of your landing page, then you can work on increasing that conversion rate. There are many different options, and a lot of them we have covered when it comes to website usability, looking at mobile, ensuring your email, if that's what you're sending, is optimized, etc. You also need to stay on top of trends, because then you can look for products that are likely to be popular, and then of course you'll earn more money. And finally, don't be afraid to change. If there is a product or service that you're trying to sell but it's not working, you can stop doing that and try something else. If you are the merchant that is looking to utilize affiliate marketing to increase your own business, so actually being the merchant that adds their products or services to a network, it is good to know these points, and also wait for module 4 when we go through that process in more detail. So how do affiliates get paid exactly? It does, of course, differ based on the business and whether someone is using a network or not. But you can either be paid per sale or lead, paid per click if that is the objective. There could be a flat fee involved. That is quite rare, but it might be the case. And then what is very common is commission. So a fee per sale or a percentage per sale. The common affiliate touchpoints that would be used are influencers, of course, bloggers as well, microsites. So if someone becomes an affiliate, they choose to try and sell, let's say, 20 products. Perhaps they'll create their own website, which still links to the store of the merchant, because that's what has to happen for it to be tracked. But they might combine everything in a nice, clear, simple microsite. And then email lists or email is also very common. Quite a large brand that I can think of when it comes to using affiliate marketing is BuzzFeed. So they aren't a merchant, they are a content site essentially, but they post articles about useful products. And anyone who purchases something through those links that they send out, they get a percentage of that sale. So, as I mentioned, it's not necessarily just for individuals, it can also be for big brands. The top affiliate categories in terms of volume and revenue, and this is for the business or the merchant, not the affiliate, they are fashion. Then we also have health and beauty, sport and outdoors, and then travel. Some interesting marketing or affiliate marketing stats. Affiliate programs generate 15 to 30% of all sales for merchants. So it is an incredibly valuable channel. And again, it's performance focused. So people or businesses are only paying for a guaranteed sale. Affiliate marketers, so the people or businesses promoting other people's products, they prefer to promote between 1 and 10 products. Almost 50% of individual affiliates make less than $20,000 a year. So it can be very hard to make decent money if it's not a full-time job. But if you are just looking for a bit of passive income, then it's a great option. And then 12% of individual affiliates make over $75,000 a year. So that is, of course, a huge jump. And these people are generally people that are doing it full time. So some very important things to remember. Whether you want to become an influencer or you want to utilize influencers, the same with affiliates, you need to do your research. A comprehensive strategy is key to the marketing tactics and channels that you decide to tackle. And then, of course, being able to track your efforts beyond the vanity metrics is absolutely critical. It's not really possible with influencer marketing, but it is fundamental to affiliate marketing. And then we have optimization. Now, we are exploring this in more detail in this module and then the next module, but we have been through the basics as well as some specific examples. Optimization is never a step that can be missed. Well done for completing this lesson. I will see you very soon for lesson 5. Goodbye, everybody.